Good morning. Welcome to Talkline on the MetroNews Radio Network.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded.
We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
Holy smoke.
From the studios of the West Virginia Radio Corporation and the MetroNews Radio Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful radio show in West Virginia. This is MetroNews Talkline with Hoppy Kercheval. Check set lineup link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown. Stand by. Q Hoppy. You're on.
Good morning. Welcome to Talkline on the MetroNews Radio Network in and around the great state of West Virginia. Hoppy Kercheval with you. J.R. Falls, our producer. Matt Sunday handling the video stream. You can watch us at wvmetronews.com. Busy show today. Yes, we're going to talk about Benghazi some. Steam release coming up at 11:33. Homer Hickham's going to join us, and also maybe a special musical guest. We're not going to ask him to play, but with West Virginia Music Hall of Fame induction this weekend. Just been working on something. We'll see. Keep my fingers crossed. But first up this morning, please welcome West Virginia 1st District Congressman David McKinley. Congressman, good morning. Good to talk to you. How are you?
Good morning. It's a blue sky here. You're sending us good weather.
Yeah, it's been a perfect autumnal week in West Virginia, so we're thankful for that. Thank you for coming on today. Just what I thought before I came on, I'm going to remind people once again that you use speakerphone because you're hearing impaired. You do have a cochlear implant, but the speakerphone works better for you. So just sometimes people ask me about that. So
okay,
make that clear.
Thank you for that. We had I'm the chairman of the hearing caucus here, and we're working on to find out with some other advances. We want to find out what else we can do to help the hearing impaired.
Did that implant help you?
Oh my, yes. I've been over to the National Institute of Health to talk to them about how it did make an improvement with it, and more people should be able to avail themselves of it. We're working with a group out of Tennessee to help other people have cochlear implants because without it, I would continue to be deaf on one side.
Yeah. Congressman, you support Congressman Ryan for the speakership. Why?
I think he's a unifying group. We could go different directions and support some of the splinter groups, but that's not going to happen. It's just a protest vote. Paul and I have known each other now for 5 years, and he's not everything that I want. But again, you just have to find ways of what's the best way to unify the group. And just keep in mind, this is a really important vote in many respects, Hoppy, because I don't know whether people remember from their civics classes, he's next in line to the presidency after the vice president.
Right.
So this is not something you take just willy-nilly and you throw a protest vote at. You're saying to the American public, we think this individual, whoever that individual, could very well be the president of the United States.
Did you give any thought to Congressman Daniel Webster from Florida, who is a West Virginia native? He spent the first 6 or 7 years of his life in West Virginia. He's supported by Congressman Mooney of the 2nd District. He is one of the leaders of the Conservative Caucus, Freedom Caucus. At least they support him. Did you give any thought to him?
Oh, yes. I've known Daniel, and he and I have had numbers of conversations, but at the same time, I think what he was offering himself up was more of a protest vote. I'm not interested in protest votes. I want to, how do we get something done here, and who really is going to be in that powerful position to be potentially right in line for the presidency? So I think that many of the other candidates that were offering, it goes beyond Daniel Webster. There were I could name 3 or 4 other individuals that were also throwing their name into the hat. This we have to take very seriously. What's the unifying force? Who can pull this together? And Paul Ryan, having at one time, as you recall, the vice presidential candidate with Romney, showed a way to pull the country together. And I think he has a pretty good sense of what we need to do as a nation, and particularly in Congress, how we're going to find cooperation because he is known for that cooperative spirit. We can get it all our way, Hoppy. We can get things that we can pass them on a partisan basis, but I don't think Paul Ryan's interested in doing that. We've got to find ways that we get bills on the president's desk for signature, or if it even goes to a veto, that we can fight it.
Well, speaking of that, let's go to the transportation bill. The House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee yesterday approved a bipartisan bill to spend up to $325 billion on transportation over the next 6 years. I think it's funded for maybe the first 3 years. Maybe you can help me out on that. But is that a bill that you support, and does that have a chance of clearing both chambers to get a long-term highway bill for the first time in 10 years?
I think that some version of that, it won't be the way it's written any more than the Senate's version of it, because they've got to find the pay-fors. And until they find the pay-fors, it's not going to pass the House. And now the Senate, as you remember, had a 5-year or 6-year bill, and it was only paid for halfway through. Right. That's a detriment to it. So I think we're going to find some compromise here, whatever it gives, because you have to pay for it, and it has to be a long-term, Hoppy. You can't have these 6-month extensions. We need a 5 or 6 year highway bill. So
where do you find the money? Because the Democrats in the House say they support an increase in the gas tax. What do the Republicans support? What do you support for finding the additional money? Because the money from the gas tax isn't going to fund the full $325 billion. So where do you find the additional money?
That's what I want to see first is what they have in it. What did they find? I know one thing was they were using some of the excess monies from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Again, that's getting down the weeds. There's some other funding sources that money that could be used, allocated to help fund this. I'm still going to hold out, hoping that they will be able to adapt some use of the repatriation money from foreign or overseas. Find a way to attract the corporations that are holding their money overseas to bring it back to America and dedicate that. That's been out there for some time. The president's been favoring it one time. It gets away from it, and I want to see the final version. Because if we're going to fund all 6 years, we're going to have to find some new things. The gasoline tax, Hoppy, doesn't do it. It may be part of it, but it doesn't do the whole thing.
Do you categorically oppose any increase in the gasoline tax, which the Democrats are talking about?
No, I'm not opposed to that. I think we have to find some way. Just let's look at whatever options out there and see what impact it's going to have.
So would you support that? Would you support it?
Well, the gasoline tax, Hoppy, is not adequate.
I know, but if you increase the gasoline tax, the Democrats saying if you increase the gasoline tax, you could pay for the highway. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not part of it, but just increase. We can't increase it so dramatically that it pays for the whole program, because of that, then it makes it has restrictions on people's ability to drive, the additional cost that would be incurred on that. So I think there's a very likelihood this is going to be a compromise, that we're going to have some increase on a lot of ideas, a lot of possibilities. And the gasoline tax could very likely be one of them. I haven't had a chance to read the bill to find out whether it is or not yet. Let me switch gears. Congressman David McKinley's with us and talk about, we got another debt ceiling approaching. The deadline is November 3rd, so you have to raise the debt ceiling again, which a lot of people are loath to do, but if you don't, you would be in default, which would be, most people believe, catastrophic. Democrats are supporting what they say is a clean debt limit increase. Doesn't include any spending cuts or other caveats. Republicans want some spending cuts and other things. What do you support when it comes to the debt ceiling?
I'm looking for some kind of cut. That's when I supported this initially back in 2011, it was for every dollar increase in the debt, we found cuts, and that was very productive. We had 3 years in a row, Hoppy, that under Boehner, that we were actually able to cut federal spending. I don't know whether the American public fully understood that what we're doing. We actually cut federal spending. We didn't get to a balanced budget, but we cut federal spending. I think some concept of that is still out there. I do not favor the idea of just voting for a clean debt limit on the first vote. The first vote needs to be on something that demonstrates to the American public and gets the people, particularly over in the Senate with that 60-vote rule they have over there, they get a chance to vote on something.
But Congressman, are you acknowledging then that that would be a symbolic vote because, as you alluded to, the Senate is not going to go along with, apparently is not, the votes aren't there in the Senate for a debt ceiling that cuts. So aren't you going to end up with a clean?
I think ultimately we probably will. But in the meantime, let's find out. Let's show the American public these are where some of the problem votes are. We've got an issue that maybe we can help out with senior citizens. I want to have a vote on it, but because of the 60-vote threshold in the Senate, we're not going to see that vote taken on it. So why don't we attach it to the debt ceiling and at least have one vote on it, so that it's more than, I'll use your term, is it just symbolism? Perhaps, but it's telling people why we have some problems here when people are they're hiding behind the Senate rules, so we can vote on that. If they vote it, then they decide to strip it out and send it back to us as a clean, I can't prevent that from happening, but at least the American public has heard where the problem is, and it's not in the House of Representatives. I
understand that. You know as well as anybody that the markets, everybody starts to get nervous when you start to do that with the debt ceiling because there's a possibility of default.
We already took care of that. McClintock's bill, we've already got a default provision that we've already passed out of the House. Again, I don't know whether the Senate's willing to consider that because of the 60-vote threshold. It just says that we will not default on our notes, period. Now, it's very clear on that. So the market should not be nervous about this.
The markets are always nervous, no matter what happens. Congressman David McKinley, it's always good to talk to you. I appreciate you coming on Talkline today. Have a pleasant weekend.
We'll chat again. Take care now, friend.
Thanks a lot, Congressman David McKinley. When we come back, Tom Payton. The federal government got a little something going yesterday and this morning on Don Blankenship. That's next.
Trading in your business fleet or personal vehicle for a new one? Donate your used vehicle to Good News Mountaineer Garage and get the best tax deduction possible and the satisfaction of knowing your donation changed the life of someone in need. Good News Mountaineer Garage repairs donated vehicles and provides them to qualified West Virginia families, giving them access to employment, safe, affordable housing, health care, and other vital necessities, and putting them on the road to economic independence. Call 1-866-GIVE-CAR today for Good News Mountaineer Garage. 866-GIVE-CAR.
Literary superstars. This year's West Virginia Book Festival, today and tomorrow, features some of the world's most renowned writers, including Jodi Picoult, author of My Sister's Keeper, Neil Gaiman, one of the most celebrated writers of our time, Gods and Generals author Jeff Shera, Caldecott Newberry, and Coretta Scott King Award winner Jacqueline Woodson, and Rocket Boy Homer Hickam. All events are free. Go to wvbookfestival.org for details.
This is Talkline on MetroNews. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
When we made the Jeep Cherokee, we didn't stop at a stunning interior, or at advanced technologies, or stop at that gas station, or from going over bumps, or rocks, or through rivers. Let's just say we couldn't stop ourselves. One drive and you'll discover why the Jeep brand continues to be the best-selling SUV brand. Join us now during the Jeep Drive and Discover event.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Gosh, cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
It's a lot easier when you have it on before you get pulled over. Click it or ticket.
Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank, member FDIC. Don't forget Steam Release coming up at 11:33. So at the Don Blankenship trial, former Massey Energy Coal Group president Chris Blanchard, who's not been charged with anything, nor has he pled to anything, was accused of playing engineer with safety issues by former Massey CEO Don Blankenship in February 2008 in a memo that was shown to the jury yesterday. Blanchard, who was president of Massey's Mark IV Coal Group and Performance Coal that managed UBB, was able to, I think, probably provide the closest link so far between Blankenship and the dearth of safety at the mine. Blanchard described Blankenship as a micromanager and very detail-oriented. Tom Payton, an attorney who is serving as one of our legal advisors in this case, joins us on MetroNews Talkline. Tom, good morning. What was the significance? What did Blanchard say, or what were in memos that Blanchard testified to that stood out to you, and why it was significant for the federal government?
Yeah, let me give you a little background.
Yeah.
Blanchard is a Virginia Tech educated engineer who's making, I think, over $400,000 a year working for Massey. And he is the president of Performance Coal, which gives him multiple direct connections to Blankenship and communications. He's still continuing his direct testimony today. He has a deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office, which we discovered this morning, which is what's called a use immunity deal, meaning his testimony today cannot be used against him. However, there's apparently no formal deal beyond that. I mean, he can still be charged with a crime. They can't use the testimony from today.
Okay.
What he's testified to, well, there's a memo to him telling him he's over-engineering and not to play engineer. And that seems to be in relation to some particular safety issues. And he is an engineer. There was some reference today by Mr. Blankenship in a recording that was played for the jury where somebody else told him, or he told someone else, he can't hire anybody that's educated because they won't do what they're told to do.
Ooh.
This goes along with this don't over-engineer when he's talking to an engineer that works in a position. At least 3 times, statements that are directly attributable to Blankenship have been made regarding stay low in the coal. And that's a term of art, which means keep the continuous miner low in the coal seam. Don't worry about using the miner on the rock above. And you use the miner on the rock above for a couple of reasons. One, if the roof's bad and the rock's bad, you need to use the continuous miner to improve the roof conditions. Second, for ventilation. You need to take some time to use the machine on the rock to help promote ventilation in and out of the mine. Obviously, if you do that, then you're not using the miner on the coal, and Blankenship is continuously urging him to stay low. No direct,
Well, let me go, Tom. Let me go to a memo, though, that Jeff Jenkins wrote about that stood out. I think a lot of media picked up on it. One of the memos that was testified to by Blanchard said, this is from Blankenship, UBB could be a lot better than it is. All of you engineers think that planning for ventilation in the year 2015 is more important than the survival of today. And believe me, it's not. We'll worry about ventilation or other issues at the appropriate time. Now is not the time. Did that memo stand out to you, and what do you think the significance of that is?
Well, sure. I mean, that's pretty close to direct evidence regarding ignoring issues with ventilation. That was the last memo heard by the jury before they retired for the evening yesterday. So I saw the jurors. I watched as that was, read by Mr. Blanchard, and you could see some movement by the jurors, like they were looking around to see how the other ones were reacting. Blanchard also generally said, there was an understanding at Massey and probably by Don Blankenship that it was cheaper just to pay violations than to comply with the safety regulations.
So, in your opinion, is this the strongest link yet the federal government has been able to put forward, connecting Blankenship to the lack of safety there?
Certainly, it is. It's statements directly attributable to him. It's actually the direct examination is still going on, and we haven't heard the cross-examination yet. The deal, he is testifying pursuant to a deal, as I said. He's given immunity for what he says here today because he took the fifth during the UBB investigation. He wouldn't testify. So the government, obviously, to get him to testify, had to provide some deal to him, which was, if you talk, we won't use it against you. Now, is there some implied deal beyond that? Not a formal one, apparently, but we'll see how that comes out on cross-examination. But, yeah, this is, use the reference of a basketball game yesterday. Certainly this is putting the ball closer to the basket and probably is getting enough evidence in at this point where the judge will be probably will not be dismissing any of these counts when it comes time for a motion to dismiss to close the government's case.
Which is really the first hurdle is the government you have to get over to make sure that you've at least gotten it far enough to keep it going. Tom Payton's with us, who is serving as one of our legal advisors on this Massey case. So if you were going to do the cross on Blanchard, where would you zero in?
Well, I think, on the use immunity issue, I would certainly hit on that because the man is coming to testify, but he's not really getting any, according to the prosecutor, he's not really getting any relief as far as potential criminal prosecutions. He's supposedly simply just getting immunity from his testimony. I mean, they can't use his testimony against him, but he's not. I think you would think there's some other reason why he would take the stand. I mean, why would he agree to testify just because they give him use immunity? Maybe they could compel him to, but I'm not sure about that. If they said, "Hey, we'll give you use immunity," and then the judge could make him testify.
So you would try to undermine his credibility and suggest that he's got a deal pending, and that's why he's testifying for the federal government in this way.
Sure, and there's no specific express statements from Blankenship telling him to, go around specific safety rules, and he has been a little bit reluctant to, I thought, to kind of pin some things on Blankenship. The U.S. Attorney is kind of having to dig it out of him with these specific memos, recordings of phone calls with him and Blankenship. I don't know if that's because he continues to have a little bit of allegiance to Blankenship or not.
Well, maybe it's the truth.
But maybe it's the truth, right? And if that is the truth, then we'll see what he says. I mean, obviously the defense is going to pull it out of him if that's the truth. Now, I don't know as much information as any of the lawyers know, so I don't know what to ask and what should be asked in that regard. But if it's the truth that Blankenship didn't go any further than these recordings and these memos, because if there's a lot of recordings, a lot of memos, there's also been a lot of conversations that took place that are not recorded and or available. Mm-hmm. And you would think if there's some more incriminating evidence than what we've seen from recordings and memos that it would be presented by the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Hey, 30 seconds here, Tom. 30 seconds here, Tom. There was more evidence. I'm not sure they need more evidence on this, but there was that Blankenship was obsessed with production figures, right? That Blanchard had to get to him like every half hour.
Sure. I mean, that's what's been, and I didn't hit on that because I think it's already been proven, but yes, that's been emphasized through Mr. Blanchard's testimony over and over again. Very detailed. His administrative secretary testified yesterday morning that Blankenship was so detailed that he didn't like the font on an Excel spreadsheet or the way the grid was set out. And they're giving multiple examples of that may not have anything to do with safety, but again, just proves his hands-on nature, which is actually pretty amazing from my standpoint based on the size of the company that he was running.
Yeah, we only got 10 seconds, but I think when also he says in a memo, Blankenship will worry about ventilation or other issues at the appropriate time. Ventilation was a key issue, according to investigators, in the explosion. Now, I don't know if that constitutes, willful, thus guilt, or whether it constitutes negligence. That's for y'all to decide, but I thought that was key.
Well, I mean, he's telling an engineer who has expertise.
He has expertise. We got to leave it there, Tom. We'll be back in touch. Tom Payton, this is Talkline on MetroNews, Voice of West Virginia. 10:30, let's get a news update. Check in with the MetroNews Radio Network. Find what's happening statewide this hour all across the great state of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. A man who worked for Don Blankenship says the former Massey Energy boss used to get 68 reports a day on how much coal was being mined at the Upper Big Branch mine in Raleigh County. Chris Blanchard is back on the stand this morning in Blankenship's federal criminal trial. Metro News legal analyst Tom Payton says such testimony helps the prosecution's case that Blankenship was consumed with production.
He was the president of Massey, which is the parent company of the actual coal company running the mine. And they've done a good job, an adequate job thus far. I think they've done enough, actually, at this point, to show he's a micromanager and knew what was going on with the management of this particular mine at UBB.
Prosecutors say Blankenship was so consumed with production that he intentionally ignored safety. We're covering the trial again today at WVMetroNews.com. The Kanawha County Commission says it will not take West Virginia University to court over its decision to move WVU Tech from Montgomery to Beckley. Instead, Commissioner Dave Hardy says they want a memorandum of understanding from WVU about the future of the buildings there.
There's a lot of very good buildings in Montgomery that West Virginia University is walking away from, including Vining Library, the Bicey Center.
The shape of the other buildings is a big reason why WVU is making the move. Governor Earl Ray Tomblin says the state's month-old substance abuse hotline is busy.
Last 30 days, we've received right at 300 calls, people needing help.
You can reach the hotline at 844-HELP-4-WV. You're listening to Metro News for 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
There are things that make our lives easier.
You know, locking shoelaces, pizza scissors, remote control mops, one-hand bottle cap openers, and the Know Before You Go driving app.
It's free travel information on West Virginia highways, traffic congestion, work zones, road conditions, information that can make your travel easier. Log on to WV511.org or download the WV511 Drive Safe app.
Know Before You Go. It'll make your life easier.
It's getting harder to make ends meet, and when you can't keep food on the table, it's pretty devastating. There is assistance, but applications can be confusing. Catholic Charities West Virginia is making it easier by helping families learn about and enroll in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, so they can get the healthy foods they need. Call 844-292-3217 to learn more, because if one person is going hungry, that's one too many. Catholic Charities West Virginia is an equal opportunity employer and service provider, funded in part by USDA and the Walmart Foundation.
A man is dead after being shot to death on the front lawn of a residence on Charleston's west side this morning. Police have made no arrests. A pair of Logan High students are charged with making a terroristic threat after allegedly threatening to blow up the school in a note found yesterday. Police say they were able to make the arrest within an hour of finding out about the incident. A Martinsburg High School student is in custody after allegedly beating up another student at the school earlier this week. The video was posted on social media. You can read more at our website. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank member, FDIC. I watched a lot of the hearings yesterday, and one of the things I thought about, which is completely inside baseball, is that if you're covering the story, what do you pick out from that? Or if you're pulling audio cuts, what do you pull out from that? So I'm glad that Jared Halpern was doing it, not me. Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio. What did you pull away from that, Jared?
You know, I think we all sort of watched it wondering if we were going to have that moment like we saw 2 years ago with, what differences it make, and that did not happen. I thought Hillary Clinton, through the course of several hours, it was 11 in total, there were a few breaks, was poised, was calm, came across very cooperative, at least in her responses to questions. She certainly had appeared that she had taken the time to prepare for this. She was off the campaign trail for a few days. Conversely, I think that Chairman Gowdy also was trying to prove a bit of a point that he was not just after Hillary Clinton, that this was not about her emails, that this was a far greater investigation. And you saw that in, I think, maybe a bit of restraint in the way that he approached his questioning. Now, not every Republican, I suppose, showed the same restraint, but even when they went after Hillary Clinton with, cables that Chris Stevens had written, or emails that she had written, or correspondences that she had with staff, they tried to lay it out there much like a prosecution would, right? With here's the document, let's talk about this documents in front of everybody. So I think to a certain extent, you had Hillary Clinton trying to prove herself that she was up to this challenge of answering, being transparent, and you had Chairman Trey Gowdy trying to push back on a lot of flack that he's taken on this being a hyper-partisan committee, in trying to prove his own Republicans wrong, since so much of that's been leveled in the wake of what Kevin McCarthy said. And also remember Congressman Hanna up in New York, made similar comments, actually a lot less vague than those made by McCarthy, that he thought that there were some partisan elements to the Benghazi committee. So
Yeah,
I think it was a proving ground for both sides, so to speak.
I mean, Gowdy was getting it from both sides because Republicans who had said it was, I mean, some Republicans wanted him to go for the jugular. Other Republicans have already acknowledged, he said one or two, that, well, there's a political aspect to this. Yeah. And the Democrats going after Gowdy. I mean, Gowdy had a fine tightrope to walk there. I thought that it was very easy to get bogged down in some of the minutia of this, but I thought there was significance in, and these have come out before, but just highlighting the emails that Hillary Clinton sent to her daughter Chelsea the night
those were
of.
new. The
Okay, those were new. Okay.
Well, so I think the committee released this a couple days ago in advance of this hearing, but that was new information, right? That even as this narrative publicly from the State Department, from Hillary Clinton, keeps citing this video.
Right.
It doesn't really blame the video if you look at what she said. It really doesn't. It does cite the video, however. She's saying in private emails to her family and also in communications with the Egyptian president that you know, there are al-Qaeda elements with this. Now, she has gone on and she tried to sort of talk around it yesterday by saying, listen, we had intelligence coming every which direction. We were trying to make sense of it. There were a lot of different things at play. And she's also pointed out the fact that Abu Khattala, the guy that's now facing charges here in the U.S. for his role in sort of being the ringleader, at least one of the ringleaders of this, has said to investigators that, yeah, that video made it a lot easier to recruit people to carry this out.
So, but also where she said repeatedly that there was a lot of information, the thing was changing, but still that doesn't change the fact that she was in private telling individuals that she believed it was al-Qaeda related, a terror attack, whereas publicly there was a definitive narrative, including Susan Rice going on all the Sunday shows saying it was the video.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think, listen, you're right. It looked yesterday like more evidence that this video narrative was bunk. I don't think it's new that that's bunk. That seems to be an asked and answered situation from months ago. Now, listen, people are going to have to make up their minds whether or not they think that's a big deal or not, whether or not that's a disqualification to be president or not. I don't think many hearts or minds were changed after the hearing yesterday. I think if you went into the hearing believing that Hillary Clinton was going to, conceal and deceive and has this big cover-up, you probably left yesterday's hearing thinking the same thing. Conversely, if you went into this thinking that Hillary Clinton's been treated unfairly, that she has been open, that she's been transparent, that Republicans are making hay out of issues that have nothing to do with the actual security and intelligence failures that happened, you probably also have the same mindset leaving. So I don't think many minds were changed. We'll see. I guess we always look at the polling afterwards. Of course, we'll have to take that with a grain of salt too, right? Since Lincoln Chafee is now out of the race. See where all of that Chafee support ends up going.
Well, the Chafee. See where those
take a dig. That was
see where those 8 votes go. But all right, Jared Halpern, Fox
however
News
you measure it in the metric system.
Exactly, Jared. Thanks a lot.
Sure thing.
Good talking to you. I did think that I thought that Gowdy was really strong, and he's a former prosecutor, and I thought the Blumenthal emails, the correspondence with Blumenthal, I thought it was interesting. However, that gets so far down in the weeds that how many people really care who Sidney Blumenthal is or know who Sidney Blumenthal is, a confidant of the Clintons. So I'm not sure that got anywhere largely with the public. However, I do believe that what was established was that in private, the Secretary of State was telling people like her daughter, like the Prime Minister of the President of Egypt and others, that this was al-Qaeda related and a terrorist attack and really had nothing to do with the video, or very little, if anything, to do with the video. But the public narrative was very different, that it was almost immediately assigned to the video. And Susan Rice went on the talk shows and said it was the video, categorically. And also that Hillary Clinton told the families of victims that they would get the people responsible for the video. Now, you say, well, why is that even important? That's important because that the theory goes that the president had essentially said that al-Qaeda had been mopped up and they had taken care of business with al-Qaeda, but if al-Qaeda was capable of carrying out a coordinated attack on the anniversary of 9/11 that killed 4 Americans, including a U.S. ambassador, that clearly al-Qaeda was not mopped up, and it would have reflected poorly on him. So it gets back to the character issue and the judgment issue. But having said that, and I think that's very significant, but having said that, I don't, as Jared said, I don't think anybody's mind is changed by what happened yesterday. Most people have already made up their minds about Hillary Clinton, pro or con. So I don't think there was anything there yesterday that would have changed anybody's mind. The only thing that's going to change anybody's mind on Hillary Clinton, on Benghazi, and or the emails, and emails as they're connected to this, is if, as a result of the FBI investigation, she gets indicted. Now, if she gets indicted, now you have a different story. But beyond that, I don't see how there's going to be anything that's going to fundamentally change people's minds. I thought there was a fair amount there, but some of us are following it more closely. Other folks are going, what is it? What's the big deal here? And she played it perfectly, really, because when the Republicans were asking provocative questions and being prosecutorial, she just acted bored, face in her hands like, oh, we're going to go over this again. So her body language, I mean, she's really, really good at that stuff. Okay, we're going to take a break and come back. We're going to be joined by Homer Hickam, a West Virginia native, author of Rocket Boys. He's got a new book out, Carrying Albert Home. He's in West Virginia this weekend for the West Virginia Book Festival. He'll be speaking tomorrow morning, so we'll talk to Homer when we come back. Talkline continues after this.
Imagine a scale, and you're trying to balance it. Too much on one side, and it sinks, just like our state's economy. When jobs are centered on one or two industries, the balance is off, our economy sinks, and good-paying jobs disappear. West Virginia needs a variety of industries, including fossil fuels, small business, and high-tech jobs to bring balance. The High Technology Foundation works to bring those high-tech jobs here. Ask your legislator if they're helping the High Technology Foundation bring balance to our economy. From the West Virginia High Technology Foundation.
True to its motto, wild and wonderful, West Virginia is the third most forested state in the country for landmass and has 7 million more forested acres now than 100 years ago. The mountain state is abundantly blessed with valuable renewable forest resources, which naturally regenerate for future generations. Forestry is the basis for over 5,000 separate wood and paper products, creating millions of dollars in state revenue from business income and property taxes. A message from the West Virginia Forestry Association, WVFA.org.
Hi, it's Tony Caridi with a question. What can a video do for you? Well, if you're in business or part of an organization, let me tell you what videos have done for our clients at Pikewood Creative. Our commercials have generated millions of dollars in new business. Our long-form videos have helped capital campaigns raise tens of millions of dollars. That's what a video can do for you. If you have a need, then visit us at pikewoodcreative.com. That's Pikewood Creative.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
When we made the Jeep Cherokee, we didn't stop at a stunning interior, or at advanced technologies, or stop at that gas station, or from going over bumps, or rocks, or through rivers. Let's just say we couldn't stop ourselves. One drive and you'll discover why the Jeep brand continues to be the best-selling SUV brand. Join us now during the Jeep Drive and Discover event.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
It's a lot easier when you have it on before you get pulled over. Click it or ticket.
Values.com.
Talkline on Metro News. Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank, member FDIC. Look who's back home in West Virginia, Homer Hickam. Welcome back, Homer.
Well, it's good to be back, Hoppy. I guess I just came in here to clean up after the president, and so.
What a big week! What a big week in West Virginia. The President of the United States, followed by Homer Hickam.
Yeah. Well, okay. I guess I'll take second billing from him.
Yeah.
I guess he's a fairly important guy.
Yeah.
But
You're back for the West Virginia Book Festival, which started. Actually, had an event last night, and they have a lot of things going on today. Also tomorrow. And you're going to be speaking tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock and talking and signing books. Your new book, Carrying Albert Home, right?
Yes, sir. That's my plan. I'll be talking about that baby alligator that my mom owned back in the 1930s in West Virginia, and she and my dad carried him home to Florida. And thence comes the name, Carrying Albert Home.
Yeah, I love this, the somewhat true story of a man, his wife, and her alligator. And the story is that your dad, Homer, and your mom were high school. They were involved romantically in high school, but then she takes off and goes to Orlando to stay with an uncle, meets up with Buddy Ebsen, yes, that Buddy Ebsen, and they become involved romantically. Then Ebsen takes off for Hollywood. She comes home, marries your dad, and the rest, as they say, is history, right?
Well, the history is that Buddy sent when Buddy found out that Elsie had married Homer. I think he was a little bit jealous, so his idea was to send her a wedding gift of a baby alligator to remind her of their time in Florida, plus a love note. All Elsie saw was love Buddy on that, and so she raised Albert in the bathtub until he was a playful alligator. One day he crawled out and grabbed Homer Sr.'s pants, and Homer ran out in the yard and started yelling, "All right, Elsie, it's either me or this alligator." And after a few days of thinking it over, Elsie said, "All right, but we have to carry Albert home." And Elsie's idea was to never come back. That was really...
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It was in the back of her mind. Oh. She was not planning on coming back. But they had this 1,000-mile crazy odyssey that I heard about over decades. It's a family legend about all the crazy madcap things that happened to them, like meeting John Steinbeck on the road, and Elsie temporarily becoming a communist and trying to blow up a sock mill that was on strike, and Homer trying to stop her, and then later Homer and Albert ended up in the Coast Guard fighting smugglers, and then they were in the Tarzan movie where Albert played a crocodile. I heard all this.
Yeah.
I heard all this stuff over the years, and there was always a moral to the story. They were telling me these outlandish tales, but I think there was a kernel of truth to all of it. So I put it all together. It's a funny book. People will get a lot of fun out of it, but at bottom, Carrying Albert Home is truly a love story. I mean, maybe it's alligator love, but hey,
But okay, so there's 391 pages. What percent is true?
Oh, percentage. Well, it's all true except for the parts that are not, and they're true too. It's a family legend. I mean, West Virginians, we're storytellers, and we like who's most fun to tell stories about.
Oh yeah, your
people
family.
in the family.
Yeah.
You tell stories about Uncle Jack and Aunt Sue. When they were down at Pinnacle Rock and fell off or something. Whatever. And so over years, these stories get bigger and bigger and bigger and better, I might add. We never let the truth get in the way of a good story. That's why this is a novel. It's called fiction, a somewhat true story of a man, his wife, and her alligator, but ultimately there's a kernel of truth in all of it. They said they met John Steinbeck. They said they met Ernest Hemingway.
Did they?
There is a picture in the back of the book. You see...
I was looking at it earlier today.
You see Elsie at 23 years old.
Yeah.
She's standing in front. It's obviously a tropical garden, and on the back of that picture, when I found it, it said N.E.H. Garden, Key West, Florida, 1935. Now, I think there was probably only one E.H. in Key West at that time. That'd be Mr. Ernest Hemingway. And also, the 1935 was when that great hurricane struck. Yeah. And Homer, my father, in about 8 years, got caught. He was actually temporarily working for the railroad down there. He got caught in the great hurricane in 1935. It killed thousands of people down there, and the train was trying to rescue him. So that's probably the really one serious part of the book where he gets caught up, and Albert ultimately saves him in a kind of a mystical, supernatural way. So there's some fantasy elements to this. Like I said, it's a funny book. At bottom, though, it's how and why my parents were able to stay together for 60 years and they never agreed on anything. So maybe the answer for folks that are having trouble in their love life is get your lover, get yourself in a 1925 Buick ragtop, put an alligator in the back seat in a wash tub, and head out for Florida. It solved my parents' love problems during that day.
Homer Hickam is with us. The new book is Carrying Albert Home, a novel, somewhat true story of a man, his wife, and her alligator. He's in West Virginia for the West Virginia Book Festival. And by the way, you can just Google that, West Virginia Book Festival, and find the schedule. When you thought about writing the book, were you going to write it first strictly accurately, or was it always in your mind to make it a novel?
Yeah, I always planned on making a family legend. I hope to start a new genre here called family legends, right? It's neither a memoir, it's neither fiction. It's kind of somewhere in between, like almost every story we West Virginians tell. It's always somewhere in between the truth, and we just don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, you know? So, no, I always figured to tell it this way. I wanted a book that folks would also, get a lot of joy out of. They could laugh on almost every page about these crazy things that Homer and Elsie and Albert, and for no apparent reason, whose presence is still unexplained, a rooster accompanied them on this crazy 1,000-mile journey.
Now, is that true? Is that the rooster part?
Yeah, over the years, as my parents told me these outlandish tales, they always mentioned, oh yeah, and there was also this rooster along. I never asked them, why was there a rooster on this trip? And so I included the rooster. My wife asked me while I was writing, she said, Homer, why is there a rooster in this? It doesn't take that rooster out. It doesn't make any sense. I said, I don't know why the rooster's there, but he knows, and so I'm going to leave him in there. And I think book clubs that pick Carrying Albert Home, that's going to be one of the questions. Why in the world did Homer Hickam put a rooster in on this trip? And I've already heard from some book clubs, they say, some people say, well, he was an angel, or he was God himself. Or my brother said he thought that the rooster, it doesn't have
a metaphor. It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor. Oh, my God. Don't say it's a metaphor or a simile. Oh, Lord. But maybe the rooster was hope, because every time Homer and Elsie get in these big troubles, like Homer falls in with a serial killer while Elsie is running moonshine on the Thunder Road, the rooster's not around. So when the rooster comes back, things kind of clear up and they get back together again. So maybe the rooster is hope. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know, frankly. I don't know why the rooster is on this trip.
But you got a great answer, because everybody wants to make it a metaphor and just say, no, the rooster was actually on the trip. It just happened to be along,
yeah,
right?
Somebody said the rooster was an angel because Homer needed that with this unhappy wife in the passenger seat. And maybe so. Maybe the rooster was an angel. I was kind of falling on the side that the rooster was God himself, but hey, or herself. But no, it would be himself with a rooster, wouldn't it? But I don't know. Maybe that's just stretching it a little bit too far.
And your parents were, candidly, and you alluded to this in Rocket Boys, your parents were not terribly happily married, were they?
No, but they did have this journey that they had that they could always kind of fall back on when they were young and they were free, and Elsie felt like that she was out of the coal fields maybe forever, and she was going to convince Homer not to have to go back. Elsie was, she was horribly misrepresented in the movie October Sky. They kind of showed her as a wimp. She was a very independent woman. She did not like Coalwood. I heard that almost every day of my life, how much she, as a matter of fact, Governor Underwood declared Rocket Boys Day about 18 years ago, and we all showed up there, and we were extolling the virtues of Coalwood, how much we loved it, and Elsie was there, and it's like, oh my gosh, and Governor Underwood handed Elsie the microphone. I said, oh, fuck myself, oh, please, Mom, say something good about Coalwood. And what she said, I hate this place. I have always hated this place, and I can't wait. Now that I'm back, I remember why I hated this place.
Oh my gosh.
But she grew up in the coal fields, and her brothers worked in the coal field, or in the coal mines, but she had a younger brother, 6 years old, who died probably just of the flu, and another younger brother that also died of scarlet fever or something. something. So she had, she wanted to get out of there where, these diseases used to just sweep through the coal fields and kill all these kids. And I think she was afraid that was going to happen to my brother and me. And so that was one of the major reasons why she didn't like being there.
I have my copy. I'm looking forward to reading it. And a lot of people are. No doubt it's going to be turned into a movie. Homer Hickam carrying Albert home, a novel, the somewhat true story of a man, his wife, and her alligator. It's great fun. And Homer's in town for the West Virginia Book Festival. You can go to just Google it, and you'll get the info. But you're going to be 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. You're signing?
Yes, sir. Well, not only signing, I'll be speaking.
Okay.
And also on Sunday, I'll be at Hearthside Books down in Bluefield.
Okay.
From 1 to 3 in the afternoon. So I hope folks will turn out for that, too.
Homer, always a pleasure. Good luck with the book, man.
Oh, thank you so much, Hoppy.
All right, good talking to you. We'll be back. Stay with us.
At MVB Bank, we try to pique your interest. So listen up. With our most valuable checking with interest account, you'll earn high interest on your transactions with no monthly fees and nationwide ATM refunds when qualifications are met. With our MVB app and mobile deposit, that's just the beginning. MVB most valuable checking with interest. Now that's highly interesting. Open an account online today at mvbbanking.com or visit one of our convenient local branches. MVB, your financial life made easy. Member FDIC.
There are things that make our lives easier.
You know, locking shoelaces, pizza scissors, remote control mops, one-hand bottle cap openers, and the Know Before You Go driving app.
It's free travel information on West Virginia highways, traffic congestion, work zones, road conditions, information that can make your travel easier. Log on to WV511.org or download the WV511 Drive Safe app.
Know Before You Go. It'll make your life easier.
This is Talkline on MetroNews. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
When we made the Jeep Cherokee, we didn't stop at a stunning interior, or at advanced technologies, or stop at that gas station, or from going over bumps, or rocks, or through rivers. Let's just say we couldn't stop ourselves. One drive and you'll discover why the Jeep brand continues to be the best-selling SUV brand. Join us now during the Jeep Drive and Discover event.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
It's a lot easier when you have it on before you get pulled over. Click it or ticket.
Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank, member FDIC. The Fall Foliage Guide, there's still time to pick it up. You can get one from the state of West Virginia by calling 1-800-CALL-WVA. 1-800-CALL-WVA, they'll send you one. Or stop by one of the state's welcome centers or go by 90 McCorkle Avenue Southwest in South Charleston. Get a Fall Foliage Guide from the state of West Virginia. And post your fall foliage pictures in West Virginia at Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram with the hashtag #GoToWV and hashtag fall in WV. Grab the last cup of coffee of the morning. See you in 6 minutes. This is Talkline on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia. Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Talkline on the Metro News Radio Network in and around the great state of West Virginia. Open phones here for a segment, and then we'll go to, well, I hate to even say this because I've done enough live radio that if I feel something, if something is somewhat in question, I don't spend hours pumping it up, and maybe I shouldn't anyway. But we're supposed to talk to Mark Farner of Grand Funk, formerly of Grand Funk, coming up in about 13 minutes, because Farner's in town. He's in Charleston. And anymore, if you're in West Virginia, I just say in town, because West Virginia is the size of a large town. So Farner is in town for the induction of John Ellison to the West Virginia Music Hall of Fame this weekend. Why? Because Ellison, who's from McDowell County, actually he's from, might be from someplace else, like Montgomery or somewhere, but he grew up in McDowell County. And Ellison wrote Some Kind of Wonderful, which has been recorded by any number of people, but most famously by Mark Farner and Grand Funk Railroad, and became, rose to number 3 on the charts. And this morning, when I went to Mark Farner's website, a song starts playing, and it's Some Kind of Wonderful. So Farner is in West Virginia to help induct John Ellison into the West Virginia Music Hall of Fame. And I've been working with Michael Lipton to see if we can talk to Farner this morning, and that's the plan, although they're sound checking right now. So we'll have to see how that goes. So that's scheduled for here this half hour. Meantime, open phone opportunities at 1-800-765-8255. Email me, talkline@wvmetronews.com. Tweet me at Hoppy Kercheval. Text me, 304-TALK-304. Wondering if what your takeaway was from the Benghazi hearing yesterday. I suspect, as Halpern said last hour from Fox News Radio, that if you're a Clinton critic, that you thought that she looked smug and self-important and at times evasive and at times outright lying. And if you are a Hillary Clinton supporter, you thought that the Republicans are just beating this endlessly to make political hay out of it, and this is all they got, and they're going to keep milking it even though there's no there. So from a political standpoint, I don't see where yesterday moved the needle. From strictly a policy standpoint, I did think that there were revelations indicating that Hillary Clinton was telling 2 very different stories about what happened in Benghazi. And from there, you can determine whether there's any significance to that. I think there's significance because why not tell the truth? Why not tell the American public that you strongly suspect it was a planned terrorist attack on the anniversary of 9/11 instead of really going hard on this video, which privately they did not think was responsible for inciting the event. So there's that. Then there's the Blankenship trial. And up until yesterday, I thought, and I'm not there, I'm only going by the Metro News reporting, as well as what our legal advisors, our legal analysts are saying. And the consensus was that the federal government was really having trouble sort of closing the circle on Blankenship. Yes, a lot of testimony that Blankenship was this hard-driving boss, very hard-driving. Yes, there's testimony that Blankenship was obsessed by production figures. Yes, there's testimony he was obsessed about money and about profits. But did they have anything that linked him specifically to safety failures at UBB that contributed to the explosion that killed 29 miners? I thought that they were not there yet until yesterday. Then yesterday, they got significant testimony, which continues today, from Chris Blanchard, who was an engineer, trained engineer, who was running UBB, and they had a memo from Blankenship to Blanchard that said, all of you engineers think that planning for ventilation in the year of 2015 is more important than survival of today. He means survival of the company. And believe me, it's not. We'll worry about ventilation or other issues at an appropriate time. Now is not the time. And ventilation was a problem at UBB, and the investigations found that the errors in ventilation allowed for the buildup of coal dust that when there was a spark at the face, ignited all that coal dust, and there was the explosion. So that, to me, is the first real direct link, the most direct link that's been established so far between Blankenship and a specific safety problem at the mine that he was responsible for. So I thought that the Blanchard testimony, I don't know what's happening on cross. I don't know if they're getting to him on cross, but I thought that was pretty significant. One other point here before I go to the phones, I got this yesterday, and it's not getting much attention because of all the other stuff that's going on politically. But do you remember when the gold mine blew out in Colorado? And there was all that stuff came from the gold mine that got down into the river in Colorado. Well, now government investigators, I'm going to read from the AP story. Government investigators squarely blamed the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for a 3 million gallon wastewater spill from a Colorado gold mine, saying an EPA cleanup crew rushed its work and failed to consider the complex engineering involved, triggering the very blowout it hoped to avoid. The spill that fouled rivers in 3 states would have been avoided had the EPA team checked on water levels inside the Gold King mine before digging into a collapsed and leaking mine entrance. Interior Department investigators concluded. The technical report on the causes of the spill has implications across the United States, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. Some estimates put the total cost of cleaning it up at $50 billion. That's got to be all the mines, because there's a bunch of abandoned mines out there. Some estimates put the total cost of containing the mining industry's mess at more than $50 million. And no question, the mining industry left a lot of this stuff behind, left it all behind when they went out of business. But here is an interesting aspect of this. EPA documents show that its officials knew of the potential for a major blowout from the Gold King mine near Silverton as early as June 2014. After the spill, EPA officials described the blowout as likely inevitable. EPA officials, after the spill, said it was likely inevitable because millions of gallons of pressurized water had been bottled up inside the mine. So the EPA comes back after this. Is the EPA, which holds everybody else responsible for spills. They look at their own spill that they're responsible for and say, well, it was inevitable. There really wasn't much we could do about that. Yes, we're going to make this thing right, but it was inevitable because all this water had been building up and we were trying to do the right thing, which is what I said at the time. At least the EPA was trying to do the right thing. But the Interior Department report refutes that. It says that the cleanup team could have used a drill rig to bore into the shaft from above, safely gauging the danger of a blowout and planning the excavation accordingly. Instead, the Interior Department finds the EPA crew, with the agreement of Colorado mining officials, assumed the shaft was only partially inundated. So a government investigation finds that the EPA not only responsible directly for the spill at the Colorado mine, but that the EPA falsely claimed afterward that it was likely inevitable. So here you have the agency that holds everybody else responsible for everything in the world that now tries to shirk responsibility for its own mistake. Note to the EPA. All right, we're going to take a break and come back. Phone number 1-800-765-8255, 1-800-765-TALK. Email talkline@wvmetronews.com. Send me a tweet at Hoppy Kercheval. We'll return in just a moment. Stay with us.
Have you ever wondered just who are the Friends of Coal? Well, there are 50,000 West Virginia families who support the state's coal industry, and they look a lot like you. Honest, hardworking, good neighbors who want a future for themselves and their state. They're coal miners, housewives, school teachers, mechanics, doctors, college professors, pizza delivery guys, your friends. The Friends of Coal know and understand the importance of the coal industry to our state's economy. They know about the 60,000 jobs the coal industry creates in our state. They know about the $25 billion the industry pumps into our economy. And they know that without coal, our state would face an economic catastrophe. Come to think of it, that sounds like most West Virginians. Let Congress know you are a proud West Virginian, and you are a friend of coal.
Coal is West Virginia.
The West Virginia Mountaineers return to action Thursday night, October 29th in Texas. Join the MetroNews Game Day crew as they cover WVU's primetime matchup with the TCU Horned Frogs. Pre-game coverage starts at 4:30 with the Jeep Gold and Blue Countdown, followed by the Sports Brunch. Game line kicks off at 7:30. At 10:30, post-game analysis begins on the Gold and Blue Wrap-Up, presented by the West Virginia Oil and Natural Gas Association, followed by the Point After. Don't miss game day coverage at its best here on Metro News.
The West Virginia Book Festival is coming to the Charleston Civic Center today and tomorrow. Get ready for a weekend of amazing authors, workshops, lectures, and of course, the popular used book sale. Today's events feature writing and self-publishing workshops and world-renowned author of the Sandman series and American Gods, Neil Gaiman. The huge used book sale rolls out tomorrow at 8 a.m. sharp, followed by the marketplace, costume parade, and more authors. Go to wvbookfestival.org for details on the West Virginia Book Festival.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
When we made the Jeep Cherokee, we didn't stop at a stunning interior, or at advanced technologies, or stop at that gas station, or from going over bumps, or rocks, or through rivers. Let's just say we couldn't stop ourselves. One drive and you'll discover why the Jeep brand continues to be the best-selling SUV brand. Join us now during the Jeep Drive and Discover event.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
It's a lot easier when you have it on before you get pulled over. Click it or ticket.
Talkline on Metro News. Welcome back. Hoppy Kercheval with you. Some Kind of Wonderful was written by John Ellison, West Virginia native, grew up in McDowell County, and that song has sold over 42 million copies around the world. The most famous version by Mark Farner when he was with Grand Funk Railroad. It reached number 3 on the charts. Now, Ellison's being inducted into the West Virginia Music Hall of Fame this weekend, and coming to West Virginia to help him be inducted is Mark Farner, formerly of Grand Funk. Mark, good morning. Welcome to Talkline. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, and I'm glad to be here.
Well, it's good to
with Hoppy.
It's good to have you here. Listen, you don't recall, because you've done a million shows, you and Grand Funk did the first rock show ever at the WVU Coliseum when it opened in Morgantown in 1970. You later came back as a solo and did Greer Pavilion in Morgantown. So you've been here. You've been to West Virginia.
Man, yeah. I remember I was 12 that first time.
How did you meet John Ellison?
After we did the song, years later, I met him in New York City. We were doing something with somebody else there, and we run into each other, man, and it was like running into family. And I'm talking about, you know, that feeling you get from somebody, I mean, never has been introduced before or never known him personally, man. It was just like this is a family member. When I give him a hug and he hugged me back, man, it's like we knew each other right on the spot. And I was overwhelmed because he's a humble man. You know, he's a humble guy, and I like humble. I strive for humble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a great guy. I met him for the first time a couple months ago, and he's a great storyteller and just a wonderful guy. Never forgot his roots of West Virginia. So when you all did Some Kind of Wonderful, when you covered it, you didn't know who Ellison was, right?
No, man, I knew it was the Soul Brothers Six, but I didn't know John personally. And the Soul Brothers Six were big in Flint, Michigan. I mean, where that song was played up there regionally. You know, we used to sing that song. In fact, when we were on the way to the gigs in the back of the limo, we would be like warming up with Some Kind of Wonderful and, you know, and some of the other songs that we covered. But we never sang anything that was ours. We always sang the stuff that we loved and that got us into music in the first place. It just happened to be John Ellison's Some Kind of Wonderful.
What's it been like the last, I don't know when you got in town, maybe yesterday or so, and I think you had sound check this morning. What's it been like for you to hook up with Ellison? And I think you're going to play the song tomorrow night, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, and I get to sing it with him.
Have you ever sung it with him before?
No. I never played with him or sung with him, but we just finished our sound check, and it's sounding good, brother. I'm not kidding you. I mean, you know, not that I'm part of it and that should sound good, but it is really sounding good. All stage hands are kind of smiling and stuff. And these guys, they've heard a lot of music, and when they come up saying, "Man, y'all sounding good," it's that, you know, they telling you the truth.
I got to play this for you because I don't know if you know the full story. You probably know the story, but I had Ellison on the show, I don't know, a few weeks back, a couple months back, and he told the story of writing the song, Mark, and I'd like to play this. Would you mind if I played this? It's real quick. Here it is.
In any serious relationship with anyone, and
okay.
So this girl, she really wanted a serious relationship with me, but my music was what was first and foremost on my mind. And I was looking, you know, I had a vision. I was on a mission, like the Blues Brothers. So anyway, she packed me a lunch, and I looked at her, and you know, she gave me this. She said, "Take care of yourself." And I said, "You know what? You're Some Kind of Wonderful." I said, "I'm going to write a song about you." And that's how the song came about. So I left Rochester, and about 3 or 4 hours into the trip, I got hungry, and I ate the sandwich that she had made for me. And after I finished eating the sandwich, I took the brown paper bag that the sandwich is in, and I started writing. I don't need a whole lot of money. I don't need a big fine car. And the reason, a lot of people ask me about these lyrics.
Yeah.
The way the lyrics came about, well, when I said I don't need a whole lot of money, it's because we were broke. We had no money, and you know, I was thinking about this girl. You know, she was really nice, and the car that we were riding in, it says, and I don't need a big fine car. Well, the car that we were riding in on our way to Philadelphia, you could look down through the floor and see the highway as we drove along. So
Did you know that story, Mark?
No, but man, I knew there was a woman in the mix someplace, and I just found out. I just got the thing. Thank you for playing that, Hoppy. That just really makes my life now.
Mark Farner's with us. I tell you, when I asked him about the origin of the song, and the first thing he said, Mark, was, well, of course there's a woman involved, because there's always...
Yes.
But
yeah.
Then what caught you, and you've known this song for a while, what caught you about the song? Is it the beginning beat? Is it the lyrics? What is it about that song?
Well, like I said, we warmed up with it on the way to the gigs in the back of the limo because it was something that we loved to listen to. It was big in Flint, Michigan, I'm telling you. And then when I found out that it wasn't big all over the country, I thought, why the heck isn't it, man? And then as our road manager is saying, what is that song you guys keep singing back there? And I said, it's the Soul Brothers Six, man. That's Some Kind of Wonderful. And he said, man, you guys need to cut that. And I said, you really think so? And he said, man, you guys could tear that song up. And so we did. The next time, and it was like 1975, and Jimmy Einer was the producer. And he said, man, I love that song. He says, we'll do it, like a lot of vocals on it, because he's really good at doing the vocals, Einer is. And it come out, and everybody loved it. And now, I mean, every time we play that song, everybody just gets up and they want to shake it, they want to boogie. And if you want to get people on the dance floor, play Some Kind of Wonderful.
It is, and when you go to your website, Mark Farner, that song comes up.
Yeah, man.
Mark Farner is with us, formerly of Grand Funk, been on his own for a long, long time now, still touring, still rocking, and also you got a conversion a few years back, didn't you?
Yeah, man. I got Jesus. I had Jesus all. Well, you know, when my dad died, I was 9 years old. I prayed with Billy Graham on the TV set. He was in Flint, Michigan, and doing this crusade, and all my family was in the other room crying, and I did. You know, I went to the living room and turned on the TV, and there was Billy Graham, and he said, if you're hurting, if you're, you know, he was talking to me, and I was like, wow, how did he know I was going to turn this TV on? And he said, just reach out, touch the TV, and just pray. And so I did, man, and I received Christ. And then I went on my merry way to become a rock star and everything else. But then when my wife left me in 1982, I said, man, I got to get back to God. I got to find God. And I started looking in all these churches, and I couldn't find God. You know, I was really bummed out because I go in with my headband, Hawaiian shirt, faded jeans, and sneakers on, and and my long hair, and people just kind of look funny at me. But I got into this little old church, and these people loved me. These people didn't know who I was, and I felt like the real spirit was there and the real reason. And I rededicated my life to Christ. And it'll be 3 years ago, the 23rd, what is that, Friday? Yeah. 23rd of October, I had a pacemaker put in, but I left the bone suit, Hoppy. I went on into heaven. I died twice on the table.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, what we got coming, thank you, Jesus. What we got coming, when you're absent from the body, you are present with love, and you know all things. That's all I can say, because human words can't even get close to what I experienced.
It's incredible. And you're still rocking.
Yeah, brother.
Are you touring? Are you touring? What's that?
I said till I suck my last breath.
Yeah. So are you? And are you touring now?
Yes, I am. I'm solo.
Yeah.
You know, Mark Farner Energy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've been out. I just never quit.
I got you.
I might have took a month off or something, but I never quit, man. And I'm still writing music, and I still love it. You know, that's what I was born to do, Brother Hoppy.
From Flint, Michigan. Hey, Mark Farner, it's a great honor to have you on the show. We're really happy to have you in West Virginia. It's great that you're going to be there for John Ellison. And it's just super. Thanks for coming to West Virginia. We appreciate it very much. Hope you enjoy your stay and come back and see us.
My pleasure, Hoppy. Thanks for having me. And knock them people alive today, will you, brother?
All right. Take care. My career is complete. That's it. Drop the mic. I'm retiring. I just talked to Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad. We'll take a break and come back. When we come back, steam release at 1-800-765-8255. Email talkline@wvmetronews.com. Send me a tweet at Hoppy Kercheval. Text me 304-TALK-304. Steam release, time for you to vent and get it off your chest, whatever you need to say. But I feel good after that. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. It's 11:30. Let's get a news update. Check in with the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening statewide this hour, all across the great state of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. The former Massey Coal Group president that managed the Upper Big Branch mine is now on the witness stand in the trial of Don Blankenship.
We've been hearing a lot about Chris Blanchard in the last 3 weeks. Former UBB miners testified he would come to the mine face and order crews to keep running coal even when there were concerns about good air. Blanchard, who has never been charged in the UBB probe, turned the tables in testimony Thursday, saying he was getting pressure from Blankenship to keep the longwall mining machine going. There were 68 production reports a day sent to the former Massey boss. In some memos back and forth, Blankenship accused Blanchard of giving money away and allowing Imshire to run the coal mines he was over. It's alleged Blankenship cared more about production than safety and broke federal laws in doing so. Blanchard will be back on the stand this morning. I'm Jeff Jenkins, WVMetroNews.com.
Charleston police releasing more information this hour on a shooting death from early this morning. The victim shot and killed in the front yard of a home on Charleston's west side about 1 a.m. Police spent much of the morning canvassing the neighborhood looking for a shooter. Kanawha County Commission asking for a memorandum of understanding from WVU about what will happen to the old buildings at WVU Tech in Montgomery once the operation moves to Beckley. Kanawha County Commissioner Dave Hardy.
I think Bridge Valley is a possibility. I think healthcare is a possibility. Bridge Valley is a very viable institution and has done a very good job transitioning into a viable community college.
You're listening to Metro News for 30 years, the voice of West Virginia. I'm Chris Lawrence, and I love it when you send me pics of the game and fish you've bagged. I show them off at the outdoors page of WVMetroNews.com in the Ram Trucks Trophy Room. But now we've stepped it up a notch. Each month from now through January, we'll have a random drawing of those who send us a picture for really cool prizes. See how to enter and submit your trophy pics at the outdoors page of WVMetroNews.com. Make it a tasteful photo, and if it's a trophy to you, it's a trophy to us. The Ram Trophy Room at the outdoors page of WVMetroNews.com.
A study from England shows that men spend more time each day looking at themselves than women. Well, believe that study or not, the point is we all want to look our best all the time. Well, the same holds true for businesses. We judge businesses, in fact, by their look. At Pikewood Creative, we produce videos and commercials that make businesses look their very best. And you know what? It improves their business. They get more customers and clients. If you'd like your business to look better, then check us out at pikewoodcreative.com.
Philip Barber High School teacher Twyla Smith will be a guest on the television talk show of West Virginia native Steve Harvey later today. Smith will be honored as one of Harvey's heroes for her heroic efforts to talk a youngster into putting down a gun at the school after they took Smith and her classroom hostage earlier this year. Some great games in high school football tonight among ranked teams. Class AAA number 4 GW at number 1 Cabell Midland, number 3 Jefferson at number 9 Martinsburg, and number 5 Wheeling Park at number 10 Princeton. Catch all of the coverage on Metro News Game Night tonight. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
All righty, it's time for Steam Release, your weekly opportunity to vent and get it off your chest. I have no steam, especially after that last segment, but I know that you do. So it's your chance to release your steam.
I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday's grey, and Wednesday too. Thursday, I don't care about you. It's Friday, I'm in love.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Okay, folks, this is your weekly opportunity to release your steam at 1-800-765-8255. Email it, talkline at wvmetronews.com. Tweet your steam at Hoppy Kercheval. Text your steam at 304-TALK-304. So if you're new to the show, this is the segment we set up where if there's something you have to say, something you're dying to comment on, and you just, the spouse has heard it all before, the kids tune you out, and you say it probably driving down the road in the car, and it's just not as effective. This is a chance to say it and be heard statewide and also with a reach into the 5 contiguous states. So what is it that must be said? And think it out a little bit. And it could be about something that's very large, the Benghazi hearing or the Blankenship trial. It could be something very small, something that happens driving down the road or in the store or wherever that you just have to release steam about. Because if you don't, you know what happens when the steam builds up. So call me at 1-800-765-8255. Email me, talkline at wvmetronews.com. Tweet your steam at Hoppy Kercheval. Text your steam 304-TALK-304. And remember that during steam release, if your steam is about me, because I know I see the emails, I see the texts, I see the tweets, I get the phone calls, that if you need to release steam about me, go ahead. Go ahead, because as per the guidelines, I cannot and do not respond. 1-800-765-8255. Email talkline at wvmetronews.com. Tweet your steam at Hoppy Kercheval. Text your steam at 304-TALK-304. Hi, Steve. First up on steam release. Make us proud.
Oh, man, I tell you, a lot of pressure, Hoppy, leading off on steam release.
There is.
It was
There are.
hard to be mad after that interview with Mark Farner. Thanks for that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All I have to do is think about Hillary Clinton, and I get mad again. You know, Benghazi and the email servers on her home computer, and we made Trey Gowdy out to be the demon. Sounds very much like another Clinton and a guy named Ken Starr back in the 90s. If you remember that whole thing, Ken Starr was the bad guy. One last thing, the EPA, what a crock of crap that is. They go and tell us we can't mine coal, and then they go out there and have this debacle out west. Thanks, Hoppy.
You're welcome. You'll have a great weekend. 1-800-765-8255. Hi, Pat. What's your steam?
Hello, Hoppy. I haven't been able to call in a while, but my steam is what it always is. Don Blankenship is still free to go about his business, have a good breakfast with his family or his girlfriend or whoever, while 29 miners lie dead in a coal miner's grave. Thank you for my time, sir.
You got your steam on. That's why we have steam release. Let's go to Earl. Hello, Earl. Welcome in. What's your steam?
Hoppy, I consider it very hypocritical of a president that comes to town to talk about how bad the painkillers and everything is. If you remember correctly, in January of 2009, a woman at a town hall meeting asked about her mother getting a pacemaker that was 100 years old. And what did Mr. Obama say? Hey, take a painkiller. We have got the world's biggest idiot running this country. And if you can't see that or you refuse to see that, you're just as bad, if not worse, as he is. Have a nice day.
Earl got his steam on. He's set up for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hi, Carol. What's your steam?
My steam is that I can't believe that Jeb Bush has the audacity to run for presidency. He's the one that had the Chavo woman murdered, and I don't see how a murderer can run for president. Do you?
Got it. Got your steam on. Amanda. Hi, Amanda. What's your steam?
Hi, I'm calling from Fayette County, West Virginia. I'm steamed that the governor of West Virginia has turned his back on the kids of Fayette County. They're in condemned schools, and he won't do anything about it.
Got it, Amanda, on the Fayette County school system. So what's your steam? 1-800-765-TALK. Email me, talkline at wvmetronews.com. Tweet your steam at Hoppy Kercheval. Text steam 304. Talk 304. Email steam from Joe. Hoppy, if the lack of coal jobs causes drug abuse, then why isn't southwestern Pennsylvania chock full of drug addicts? They lost their coal mines in the 1950s. Then they lost their steel jobs in the 1970s and 80s. So where's their drug problem? Maybe they pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and found a new way to make a life. Yeah, a lot of them moved away. But the ones that stayed and those that came back with a broadened experience have turned the entire area around. Get over yourselves and do something constructive for a change, says Joe in his steam. Another Joe says, Hoppy, what an interview and testimony from Mark Farner. Well done. Ray says, Hoppy, outstanding. Please post the Farner interview on the website. We will, as long as I think Matt Sunday will do that. So we can post that. Marty says, on the Mark Farner interview, that was awesome. I sat in the car, listened to it. Great work. Thanks, by the way. Let me, editor's note, thanks to Michael Lipton for helping set that up. Couldn't have done it without Lipton. Mountaineer tweets, now the right-wing extremists are screaming at Gowdy for not scalping Hillary. Please, please. And go Mountaineers. Chad says, elected officials are not being held accountable for their actions. 22 veterans committed suicide today. Wes says, sounds like that Homer Hickham's book is Big Fish, West Virginia style. Quick break and come back. Go back to the phones. Ken, James, Steve, and you're after that at 1-800-765-8255. Email your steam, talkline at wvmetronews.com. Tweet your steam at Hoppy Kercheval. Text your steam at 304-TALK-304. Here in West Virginia, there are two great jackpot games you can play from the West Virginia Lottery. Powerball has drawings on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Mega Millions has drawings on Tuesdays and Fridays. The Powerball jackpot is $100 million. The Mega Millions jackpot, $105 million. Please play responsibly. More steam after this.
Stupid pipe! Oh, no.
Honey, are you all right?
There's a time and a place to do things yourself, but there are some things that should be left to the professionals. When it comes to building your dream home, remodeling the bathroom, rewiring the kitchen, or fixing the furnace, you need the best help and the best materials you can get. That's when you need to go to the Home Builders Association of West Virginia. Their members are skilled professionals and retailers specializing in your home. It's your home. Don't settle for anything less than the best.
Contact the Home Builders Association of West Virginia online at hbawv.org for a list of
of licensed professionals and suppliers in your area. Go to hbawv.org today. This message brought to you by our marketing partners, Lowe's of North Central West Virginia, Brick Street, 84 Lumber, Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh, ProBuild, SJ Neathog, Valcon, Wincor, and West Virginia Housing Development Fund. The Home Builders Association of West Virginia. Go to hbawv.org today.
The Jeep Celebration event at Northside in Summersville is underway. Never a better selection. Over 200 Jeeps available. The 2015s are leaving quick. The 2016s coming in just as quick. This is a great opportunity for you to save big. Get a 2016 Jeep Cherokee Sport with the Sport Package and Cold Weather Group. Save over $3,000. It was $2,825, now $24,990. Here at Northside Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Truck. Visit us online at northsidewv.com. Don't delay. Buy a Jeep today.
Staying independent to serve you better. PAIS Independent Service Coordination helps families of persons with intellectual or developmental disabilities find the right services to help them reach their dreams and goals. Since they're independent of any service providers, PAIS will help you coordinate the resources that best meet your needs, and your loved one will receive the care they deserve. Go to PAISWV.com to learn more. PAIS Independent Service Coordination, helping people help themselves.
This is Talkline on MetroNews. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
When we made the Jeep Cherokee, we didn't stop at a stunning interior, or at advanced technologies, or stop at that gas station, or from going over bumps, or rocks, or through rivers. Let's just say we couldn't stop ourselves. One drive and you'll discover why the Jeep brand continues to be the best-selling SUV brand. Join us now during the Jeep Drive and Discover event.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest, because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
It's a lot easier when you have it on before you get pulled over. Click it or ticket.
Council.
Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank, member FDIC. Back to steam release at 1-800-765-8255. Hi, Ken. What's your steam? Hi, Ken. Go ahead. Check and see who that is on one, because then we might have gotten the name wrong. Hi, James. What's your steam?
Oh, yeah, Javi. I'd like to. Normally, I can't stand you, but I like you as a person because you said something the other day that showed me something about you. The most important thing I have ever heard you say on your radio show, and that people should have had a tape recorder, is when you analyzed and talked about the school system and the fact that the students aren't performing and that it's necessary for this state to get ahead. That was an excellent talking point, and you should sell that somewhere, or write a book, because it is something that has to be said, and you said it very clearly. And I know some people may get mad at you, but they better listen to it again, because you hit it right on the nose, and you ought to be complimented for doing it.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. 1-800-765-8255. Let's go to Steve. Hi, Steve. What's your steam? We lost steam. Why are we losing everybody today? Let's go to Lynn. Hi, Lynn. What's your steam?
My steam is about you, Hoppy. You're a slave to confirmation bias. Look it up. Bye.
Okay, let's go to Richard. Hi, Richard. Go ahead.
Hi, Hoppy. Good morning.
Morning.
I heard one of your previous callers talk about the school system in Fayetteville, and what has my steam up about the school system in Fayette County is the fact everybody wants the state to solve the problem. They need to ask the question, what did the county do with the money over the last 20-plus years as far as maintenance and upkeep? This situation did not happen overnight. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. Hey, Clinton, what's your steam?
Well, I'm a specialized foster care provider for disabled adults I take care of, and I haven't been paid by the state of West Virginia since July for room and board, and it's really stupid. You know, and I think they should pay me. They expect me to take care of these kids, but how am I supposed to do that if I can't pay my bills?
Got it, sir. And George, hi, George. What's your steam?
Hey, good morning, Hoppy.
Morning.
I think, on this hearing with Mrs. Clinton, I think she ought to be made to pay all the money back to the federal government that it cost to, investigate her. She's the biggest liar in the United States, and she should be in prison already.
Steam release and Jeff. Hi, Jeff. What's your steam?
Hoppy, no mention of your good buddy Mr. Morrissey and his latest scam, putting a political operative on the state payroll, and then when it's publicized, the operative resigns a day later. What's up with that? And Mark Farnard, I hate to say it, but his two previous band members in Grand Funk, don't think too highly of him because he's tried to cheat them. Later, Hoppy.
Email steam from Bob. Hoppy, last time I read about it, Fayette County residents turned their backs on their own schools. Ken says to the high-end WVU donors jetting out to Arizona, be careful what you ask for. You might just get it. Text team. Hoppy, steam release on Obama coming to Roosevelt, the community center there in Charleston. Those hallways at Roosevelt are hallowed ground. It was the place where legends were made in the greater Charleston area. Rich in tradition, diversity, and innovation, the school dominated Kanawha County athletics and was nominated as a National School of Excellence. Great teachers influenced generations of Eastenders there. It's the former junior high school where the President of the United States visited. Let's see. That was a badass move by the President. Signed, a 1986 Rough Rider. Text team. Hoppy, I'm in the process of moving to Putnam County from Florida. Love the state, love the people, but can't understand how the Putnam County community tolerates Confederate flags at Hurricane High School. What has been done to teach these young adults the message they are sending? Text team. Hoppy, do not give money to anyone standing in the road. Something really bad is going to happen with drug and drunk drivers. Find a safer way to make money. That's from Dan in Monroe County. Hoppy, steam release, fire Holgerson. Hoppy, steam release, just love the interview with Mark Farner. We could all learn a lesson from him. Thanks for that. Text team, praise for you, Hoppy, today. No steam. Laughed and smiled listening to you today. Email steam, this week, the West Virginia AG learned an important lesson. Hide the bodies better, says WA. Take a break and come back. More steam release coming up at 1-800-765-8255. Couple lines are clear. 1-800-765-TALK or email your steam, talkline at wvmetronews.com. Tweet your steam at Hoppy Kercheval. This reminder, pick up your fall foliage guide at any of the West Virginia Welcome Centers, okay? Or call 1-800-CALL-WVA, 1-800-CALL-WVA to get your fall foliage guide. And we got some beautiful fall pictures out there. So go, take a picture, Post it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and use the hashtag #GoToWV, hashtag fall in WV. Go to WV, hashtag fall in WV. Post those beautiful fall pictures that are out there before it's too late. I have a feeling that we're just about on the tail end of this. Steam release and Don. Hi, Don. What's your steam?
My steam's with the Benghazi Committee. They did a pretty good job of interviewing the secretary, but they did not connect the dots of how Secretary's influence of foreign policy in Libya was influenced by her buddy Sid Blumenthal. And Sid Blumenthal was a principal in a company called Osprey Global Solutions, which was headed by a past general of Delta Force, which was going to go in and fill the void when the Gaddafi government fell and get the contracts with the new government. And not to mention, Blumenthal was under the employ of the Clinton Foundation. So I can see a nice little check coming to the Clinton Foundation from Osprey Global Solutions, but hopefully the rest of the news cycle will pick this connection up. I mean, if that's moving Whitewater to an international stage.
You got it. Got your steam on. You'll have a good weekend. Quick break. We'll be back. Let's finish strong with Strong Steam Release next at 1-800-765-8255. Email at Talkline at WVMetroNews.com. Tweet it at Hoppy Kercheval. Text me 304-TALK, 304. More steam ahead.
Constantly checking your business checking? Switching to an MVB Bank Foundation business checking account makes your cash management easier with no minimum balance, no monthly service fees, up to 500 free transactions per month, and access to MVB where you work. Visit MVBbanking.com to see how MVB Bank helps you build a foundation for your business. MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC. Transactions are checks paid and deposited and ACH debits. $50 minimum deposit to open, 20 cents for each transaction over 500.
Hi, it's Tony Caridi. If you're in a business or organization that needs visual help, then let's get together and talk. For more than a decade now, those of us at Pikewood Creative have embraced the opportunity to help people just like you tell their story visually. Whether it's a video, commercial, animation, or motion graphics piece, we produce content that make others take notice. We help people increase their business and organizations better tell their story. If you need help, then contact us at pikewoodcreative.com.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
When we made the Jeep Cherokee, we didn't stop at a stunning interior or at advanced technologies or stop at that gas station or from going over bumps or rocks or through rivers. Let's just say we couldn't stop ourselves. One drive and you'll discover why the Jeep brand continues to be the best-selling SUV brand. Join us now during the Jeep Drive and Discover event.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
It's a lot easier when you have it on before you get pulled over. Click it or ticket.
Talkline presented by MVB Bank. Your most valuable bank member, FDIC. Text STEAM. Hoppy, tell Governor Tomlin to come and help Fayette County schools. Larry, welcome to Steam Release. What's your steam, Larry?
Same old steam, Hoppy. F-35 jet program, $200 billion over budget. Now they say that the $400,000 pilot's helmet is too heavy, and it may break the pilot's neck if he has to eject. Back to the drawing board, more money.
Got it, sir. You'll have a great weekend. Hi, Frank. What's your steam?
Hey, Hoppy, I'm hopping mad today, Hoppy. These people over here in Fayette County deserve so much better than what they're getting with their education system, Hoppy. Did they want the governor to come down? He ain't going anywhere. He's just trying to get out of office. Hoppy, we got to get somebody who can do something about the Board of Education statewide and that school building authority. Hoppy, they're trying to ruin Fayette County and the students there. They had everything set, and then few people get political on it, and they want to stop it. Hoppy, we need to do something. You need to come to Fayette County and do a show. You need to come see what's going on, Hoppy. We got people running for governor now. They want to come say, "Oh, look how bad it is." But Hoppy, it's only because they're running for governor. They're not going to do anything to help us. People like you can do something because you make things happen. Thank you, Hoppy. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that. Willie, what's your steam, Willie?
Hey, this is some I told you so steam to my coworkers. You all laughed at me and mocked at me when I turned in my $10 and my pick saying West Virginia was going to finish 4 and 8. Who's laughing now? Thanks.
All right, Willie. Hello, Clay. Welcome in. What's your steam, Clay?
Hey, good morning, Hoppy. Well, I hope Don Blankenship ends up in prison for the rest of his life for the crimes that he's perpetrated on the people of West Virginia. And I also hope that he saves a little room for Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, and they finally get their comeuppance for being responsible for the deaths of so many people in the Mideast. Thank you.
You got it. Steam Release and Todd. Todd, welcome to Steam Release. What is it that we must hear?
Well, Hoppy, the coal miners of West Virginia need to blame themselves. They endorsed Obama. Richard Trumka is the biggest blame. They endorsed Trumka knowing that he was going to shut down the coal mines and bankrupt them. So the Democrats of West Virginia need to take their medicine and love it up.
Got it. Steam Release and Mark. Hey, Mark, what's your steam?
Hey, Hoppy, this is a praise team. I was in Charleston the other day at a convenience store, standing in line. A young man was trying to pay for some milk for his family. His debit card was declined, and the clerk politely told him to take it back. And a police officer standing behind me quietly went back to the cooler, gave the young man the money, and he paid for his meal.
There you go. Tell you what, we're going to end there. We're going to wrap it up there. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate everybody being with us not only today, but every day. Thank you very much. Keep up with the news of the day, including the Blankenship trial and more, at our website at wvmetronews.com. For J.R. Falls. From Matt Sunday, I'm Hoppy Kercheval. Appreciate you being with us today, and I'll see you Monday, okay? Have a great weekend. This has been Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.